Today's lesson is taking yesterday's lesson, and now we're going to have variables on both sides of those equations. So for those of you that still have not finished your variables on one side equation, that is your first priority. Make sure those are done. I should have checked those notes, and you should have already completed homework 5 before watching this video. If you have not turned homework 5 into me yet, you have no business being here watching this video right now. Pause the video, complete homework 5, get assistance as you need that, refer back to your notes. If your notes aren't done and you're asking me questions on the homework, not going to answer them. Go back and complete your notes first, and then I'll help you. Good chance I'm grading that homework for accuracy, so you better make sure you know what you're doing on that. So those of you that are ready, that means you've turned homework 5 into me. You're going to be starting your multi-step equations with variables on both sides notes. So for your topic today, I'm just going to write multi-step variables on both sides. That's the big thing today. Instead of them only being on one side, they are now on both sides. And like I was saying in the video lesson from yesterday, it's just going to get a little bit harder each time, and we're going to be able to handle it because we're doing this gradually in steps. So multi-step equations of variables on both sides today. So our steps are a little different because we're going to have to worry about both the left and right hand side with simplifying. So far, we've only had to do it on one side. What could happen today is we have work to do on both sides of the equations before we start using inverse operations. And then we'll solve it using those skills that have continued to build, and we can always plug in our answer to check our work. So jumping right into our examples today, I'm going to start with number 1. So I'm going to switch over to my whiteboard, and you're working these out on your paper. So number 1, I've got 8x plus 17 equals 2x plus 35. All right, so this is different from yesterday because I have 2 variable terms, which was normal, but the issue today is one's on the left-hand side and one's on the right-hand side. So before I move anything, is there anything to distribute on the left-hand side? I don't see any variables, I don't see any parentheses, so no. Nothing to distribute on the right-hand side. Do I have any like terms on this side? None that I see, none on the right-hand side. So since there's no distributing to do and there's no combining like terms to do, now we can go ahead and start moving stuff around. So you have 2 options. You can subtract 8x on both sides, or you can subtract 2x on both sides. And a lot of you have done this in Edgenuity where it'll ask you questions on whether or not it matters. It doesn't, but again, work smarter, not harder. Are you going to want to do 2 minus 8 or 8 minus 2? 8 minus 2 is easier math for me to do, so I'm going to subtract the 2x on each side. I have to do the inverse because I'm moving it to the other side. I have to do the opposite. 8x minus 2x is 6x. Plus 17 equals 2x minus 2x is going to cancel out, giving me 0, equals positive 35. I now have a 2-step equation, the same spot I got myself into yesterday, and then I used those skills from last week to solve from here. Your x, positive 6 is your date, 17 is your third wheel. So it's a positive 17, so you need to subtract 17 on both sides. That'll cancel out, just leaving you with 6x on this side. 35 minus 17 gives you 18. Divide both sides by 6. 18 divided by 6 leaves me with 3. X equals 3. All right, it's going to get a little harder every time. We're going to keep it simple for the first few until I add anything crazy in. So going across to number 2, we have 7k plus 8 equals 2k minus 37. All right, I don't see any parentheses on either side. I only have 1 variable term and 1 constant term, only 1 variable term and 1 constant term. If at any point I ever have 3 things, it's a pretty good indicator I should get some things combined together. So I'm going to go ahead and get my variable terms together. Since they're on opposite sides of the equal sign, I have to do the opposite or the inverse operation. I could subtract 7k, or I can subtract 2k. I'm going to subtract that smaller value, 2k. 7k minus 2k leaves me with 5k. Bring down my plus 8. equals 2k minus 2k cancels out, and that's equal to negative 37. Again, if I'm moving things around correctly, I should end up with a two-step equation, and then I'll know what to do from there. So your k, your date is 5, 8 is your third wheel. So subtract that 8 on each side. 5k equals negative 37 minus 8 gives me negative 45. Use a calculator to help you. My only worry is with these video lessons that some of you just copy it down and you're not checking the work with me and working it out yourself. And that's why you get a quiz in front of you and you panic. You've got to practice exactly what I'm doing. If you didn't know this in your head and you're just listening to me, grab a calculator and make sure it's right. 5k divided by 5 cancels out, leaving me with k. Negative 45 divided by positive 5 is negative 9. All right. So far, so good. Moving on to number 3. M plus 3 equals 9m minus 13. All right. So they're trying to make it a little trickier for you by just having an m. First thing I'm going to ask myself, I don't have any parentheses. I don't have any like terms. One variable term, one constant term. Same thing over here. Just one variable and one constant term. Nothing to distribute or combine. Get our variables together. So now I have two options. I'm going to put a 1 in front of that m, 1m. I can subtract 1m on both sides, or I can subtract 9m on both sides. If I subtract 9m, I'm going to end up dealing with some negative numbers. So I'm going to subtract 1m to keep my numbers nice and positive. Work smarter, not harder. 1m minus 1m is going to cancel out. Bring down your 3. 9m minus 1m is 8m minus 13. I still end up with a two-step equation. My variable term and my third wheel are just on the other side. That's okay. You know how to solve this. The order doesn't matter. Your m, 8 is your date, negative 13 is your third wheel. Add 13 on each side. 3 plus 13 equals 16. Bring down your 8m. Negative 13 plus 13 cancels out. So we're going to divide on both sides by that 8. 2 equals m. Solve it the exact same way. They just have the variable terms on the other side. Easy, easy, easy. You have a choice up here. If you didn't think to just subtract 1m and you subtracted 9m, our numbers would have been a little different along the way, but you would have also ended up with the answer of m equals 2. Number 4, negative 4y plus 6 equals negative 3y plus 12. All right, so again, I don't have any parentheses. I don't have any like terms, so I can go ahead and start getting my variable terms together. Two choices. Add 4y on each side or add 3y on each side. I'm going to tend to try to do what usually gives me a positive answer. Doesn't mean that's the only way to do it. I'm just, again, trying to make sure I can work with the prettiest numbers possible to avoid mistakes later on. So if I add 4y, that'll give me a positive 1y. But if I add 3y, it'd give me a negative 1y. So I'm going to go with my adding 4y to end up with a positive. Negative 4y plus 4y will cancel out, and it'll give you 6. So negative 3y plus 4y, switch it around. 4y minus 3y is just 1y. Bring down your plus 12. All right, your y, your date is 1. You've got to subtract 12 on each side. They're your third wheel. 6 minus 12 leaves me with negative 6. 1y is the same as y. Now, you don't have to show me how you divide by 1 because we know that's just going to leave me with the same value I started with. So that kind of gets to save me a step, luckily. It doesn't kind of, it actually does save me a step. All right, number 5 looks a little funky because at first when you glance at number 5, you're like, oh, perfect, a two-step equation. Ms. Regal's taking it easy on us, not a multi-step. Well, the issue is that side that we call home, there's a variable over there. Therefore, it is not home. That is another variable that's got to get combined with this. So in this case, even though I know if I subtract 2y, it would give me a positive 4a. I'm sorry, if I subtract 2a, it would give me a positive 4a over here. I'm not going to have anything left over here, and that's going to be a problem. That's going to just make me work harder. So here's a situation where I'm purposely going to subtract the 6a and end up with a negative in order to keep something over on this side of the equation so I don't get stuck and not know what to do. So I'm going to subtract the 6a because it's a positive 6a on each side. 6a minus 6a cancels out. 40 equals 2a minus 6a. If I have $2 and I spend $6, my bank's going to say, hey, you're negative $4, ma'am. Negative 4a. All right, so I got a negative. Not my favorite thing in the world, but it means I still have something on each side of my equation to work with. So your a, your date is negative 4. In this case, there's just no third wheel hanging around. You've still got to make sure you get your date home by curfew. So the opposite of multiplying is to divide by negative 4. 40 divided by negative 4 gives me negative 10 is equal to a. All right, awesome. Okay, 5 done. Got 3 more on the front. Off to a good start, guys. So number 6, we've got 5w minus 29 equals 55 minus 2w. All right, nothing to distribute, no like terms to combine. Just got one variable and one constant on each side. Get my variable terms together. I can subtract 5w because it's a positive 5w, or I can add 2w because it's subtracting 2w. I'm going to add this 2w on each side. You have choices. If you choose to subtract the 5w, we'll have different work, but we should get the same answer. 7w minus 29 equals 55. Negative 2w plus 2w cancels out. All right, two-step equation. Add 29 on each side. Cancels out. 7w equals 55 plus 29 gives me 84. 5 plus 9 is 14. Carry your 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. 84. 84 divided by 7. If this is not one that you know, grab a calculator. 84 divided by 7. Will it be a whole number or will it be a decimal? Hopefully you've done this and you're not just copying it down. But I can't help you if you're going to choose to take the lazy way out. It's going to hurt you come quiz time. Going to go ahead and get 12 as your answer. So it does work out to be a nice whole number. All right, 6 is done. Number 7. 5p minus 11 equals 13p minus 43. Okay, nothing to distribute yet, no like terms to combine. One variable, one constant, one variable, one constant. I can subtract 5p or I can subtract 13p. Subtracting 5p is going to be easier math for me to handle. 5p minus 5p will cancel out, leaving me with negative 11. 13p minus 5p leaves me with 8p, and then minus 43 comes down. By subtracting 5p, I'm left with a positive coefficient of 8. If you would have subtracted 13p, you would have ended up with a negative coefficient of 8 over here. Your third wheel is that negative 43, so we're going to add 43 on each side. Negative 11 plus 43 gives me 32. Bring down your 8p. Negative 43 plus 43 cancels out. All right, what is 32 divided by 8? Hopefully you're thinking 4, and you've already wrote it down before me. P equals 4, or 4 equals P. The order does not matter. You're okay. All right. We are at 14 minutes and 30 seconds. You are almost halfway through, so good job. I'm going to pause this video, go on to that second one, and we're going to start off with number 8.